Why should you choose a career in oil and gas? And what does a career in this industry look like? What qualifications do you need? Do you really need a university education or a technical background? What is this industry all about? What you know or whom do you know? What is the story? And why is it important to tell the right story about the world of oil and gas? Hello and welcome. I'm Garima, and joining me on the dais today is Abhinandan Kohli, Senior Petrophysicist and Opportunity Lead at Shell. Thank you so much for joining me today, Abhinandan.
Thank you, Garima. It's a real pleasure to be here on the Dais with you. I have been following your channel and I've been quite proud of the great work that you and your company are doing. Thank you for having me. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot, Abhinandan. Let's begin with your story. What inspired you to join this amazing industry?
Well, yeah, thanks for the question. I think from a very long time, I have always been interested in science as a subject and in physics especially. And when I was in standard 11, our chemistry teacher, she asked us to write down a list of all the things that come from oil and gas. And all the students, we had to write down 10 things that we thought came from oil and gas industry. So I was quite intrigued by that. And you know, when you're young, you always discuss the oil prices, the petrol prices within your family, and whenever petrol prices go up, you know, your dad's always complaining the government has increased the prices again. So I was always quite fond of this industry in the sense that I saw how important it is that it affects everyday lives of people. So that is really where the journey started from I would say quite a young age. And I was lucky enough to find myself a degree at IIT Dhanbad now as a petroleum engineer. And that is where the whole journey started from. I did 4 years in petroleum engineering, which was quite a nice experience, just being in the college surrounded by such a legacy of information that the college has. It was one of the first institutes of petroleum engineering in India, established as a sister college of Royal School of Mines in the UK. Um, yeah, so that is really in short the background of my journey. And I have been I would say quite privileged to help and support in whatever capacity I can with regards to providing energy to the world and solving one of the biggest problems in the little capacity that I can.
Wonderful, wonderful. And why petroleum engineering in particular? Why not something else?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was actually also a bit of chance that this happened because when I was preparing for my exams, as you know, in India, you have to take the competitive exams to get into an engineering degree. And I was always dreaming of getting into IIT Delhi because that's very close to my house, and I always wondered whether I would study there or not. But my rank in the JEE exam was about 4,000, so IIT Delhi was out of reach. And then I ended up at ISM Dhanbad, and Dhanbad presents this atmosphere of studying geology and earth science branches, and that's what the college is more famous for and known for. Um, so that's why when I thought that that this can be a place where I can study, I decided to pursue the route of earth science branches rather than the traditional computer science engineering, electronics engineering, and really that is where the whole interest began. Just getting to that college was also the start of the career in oil and gas. Yeah, if I'd made it to IT Delhi, probably I'd be working for an IT company or or a semiconductor company. But because I ended up at ISAM, petroleum engineering was the way to go. Yeah, I would definitely, knowing what I know now, would make the same choice over and over again. It is such a fabulous place to study, and every college is fabulous, but that's close to my heart.
So tell us more about ISM. What was your life like in that university, and what do you
Yeah.
miss the most?
So ISM, Indian School of Mines, is a college in Dhanbad. It's in Jharkhand now, and really that college is probably the only known landmark in that city, apart from the coal mines that are around that region, like Jaria coal mines, and there are Raniganj coal mines. But that college is really the only thing as a landmark. So studying there was such a prestige for people coming from different parts of the country and studying there. Everybody was gives you respect. You get a lot of as students, of course, you're short of money. You get a lot of discounts when you show your student ID card. In the entire city, you get discounts on cinemas, on restaurants. So that was quite an important thing to feel like, oh, like this is quite cool that people think of us as somebody who will help the city in the future, or somebody who will go on to do good things and great things for the country. So that was quite special, and that's why I say I would make that choice over and over again. Because if you're studying in Delhi or Mumbai, then you have all the big colleges. There is all the famous management colleges in Gurgaon. There is AIMS in Delhi. So you don't get that sort of special feel. So you could say is a king in a small pond, or the king of fishes in a small pond. So that was quite special, and of course, it becomes extra special for everybody because of the friendship and the bond that you create with your colleagues and students. And of course, I am still in touch, as my closest friends come from my college, and they are very close to my heart, and I share everything with them. They're also in oil and gas industry. We have a weekly call pretty much, and it's just good to see growth with them, and they are growing their families. They're married now, they have kids, so that bond that you share from 14 years ago is still there, and that sort of relationships is what life is all about. I feel to build those friendly relationships. That's where I would say college has been an integral part of my life.
And if
So,
I may ask, have you been able to find such friendships and relationships in the industry as well?
very, very good question. I would say I have been able to find, but not to that scale and not to that extent. My bond with my college buddies, I would say, is still quite strong. With I do have very, very close friends from the industry who I met when I joined Shell back in 2010, and we still keep in touch. We still have calls, virtual calls these days, of course. Um, yeah, so I would say yes. Shell has also helped build that strong bond, where I can really rely on them. I can talk to them about the company, about the industry, and see where we want to take our future. Do we need to know more skills? Do we need to acquire any new skills with the changing world every day? Are we still relevant of what we did 10 years ago? Is that still relevant today? So those kind of discussions are quite engaging, and they're quite helpful in directing our future in the right direction. All these young professionals that I'm friends with from Shell.
That's lovely. And now help us understand your role at Shell. How has your journey been, and when did it all start?
Yeah. So my official role in the company is senior petrophysicist. And when I was joining the company, I did not know what a petrophysicist was. It seems like a big fancy word to me. It felt like that to me. But basically, petro means rock. It comes from a Latin word petra, and physics is just physics. So basically, you could call that in my role, I study the physics of rocks, and I help evaluate how much oil and gas is there in the ground in very simple terms. And there are, of course, other responsibilities. There is a team of people I work with closely, which has a geologist typically, it has a reservoir engineer, and it has a production technologist. And all 4 or 5 team members, they make up a subsurface team who is responsible then for evaluating how much oil and gas is there and how best to bring it out. Is this still commercial at whatever price? So that is the real responsibility of the team. um, yeah, so my day-to-day work looks like a lot of interpretation on 2 massive screens. So I look at a lot of data that we acquire, and then I want to help my team and myself understand what is the data telling us. So it's a lot of data analytics. It's a lot of bringing different pieces together, a lot of integration that we need to do with the knowledge of geology, and interface, a lot of interfaces between different disciplines. So just connecting them with a common thread, and telling the best story that we can predict from our computer models. So that's my day to day. It has 2 parts, of course. One is the office bit that I just described. The other bit is, of course, when I go out in the field. And in the field, my job is to supervise logging operations with a contractor. So there is typically a contractor that we hire to do these data acquisition programs. And my job is to make sure that the data acquisition program is done correctly. The safety of the people is of utmost importance in these kind of operations. So we make sure that the people are safe when they're doing it. They acquire the right kind of data. They make sure that they are handling the tools and equipment in a very safe and responsible manner. So those are my duties when I go out in the field to make sure that the data is acquired properly and interpreted to support the static and dynamic models that we build. Yeah. Um, how did it all start? This was the other question. I mean, I did petroleum engineering, like I said, and a typical path of a petroleum engineer is to either become a reservoir engineer, which is also a lot of interpreting of data, history matching, predicting what the future flow would be like. But at that point in time, I remember I had a boss. He was a Dutch guy, Andre, and he said, "We need some engineers in the petrophysics discipline, because till then it was mostly filled with the geologists who were more. We call geologists very artistic in the sense of how they make models and how they distribute properties. So he wanted to bring in some mix of engineering and geoscience together in the discipline. So that's why he asked me, would you be keen to try this out? This is a new thing that we are doing. And I said yes. And yeah, that's how it started. So yeah, so I started my career in petrophysics for about 10 years, and it's been a fun ride. That's what I can say.
Amazing, amazing. And now, if I have to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you perceive in your current profession? And what is it that you love doing the most?
Yeah, the challenges, of course, we all know that these are unprecedented times. There is excess oil and gas flooding the market. The demand is not so high as it was expected to be. So the bigger challenge is more a challenge that the industry is facing as a whole. and that challenge is to balance the demand and supply game for oil and gas. Particularly for us, the other challenge is to learn new skills. There is a lot of digital transformation that companies are going through, and as a part of my role, I try to learn new skill sets, which is trying to learn how to code, how to train myself in Python on websites like Coursera, Udemy, and there is the third bit is about shifting to a more renewable sources of energy. Western Europe, I guess, is one of the forefront countries that will make that shift to net to a low emission society. Norway, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden. These countries are quite far ahead, and they want to do that change. They want to bring about that change, and I feel that as subsurface engineers, not only petrophysics but all oil and gas engineers, we need to acquire that skill set. So, for example, geothermal is the next big thing, and if we want to be a part of that industry, it's already good to start ahead and learn the skills that are required to analyze the geothermal wells, what it takes to bring about a geothermal development. So that's what I am focusing on to counter as challenges and trying to adapt to these challenges in the near future.
That's really helpful, I would say, very insightful. And also, Abhinandan, since you have worked on the field, you're somebody who has been there around the clock. How would you describe the offshore world to the students out there who have no clue how does it look like?
Yeah,
They probably
yeah,
read through the articles and they just go through the challenges that are there, but
yeah.
what exactly it is out there?
Yeah, so I went to North Sea. Last year, I was on the offshore platform for about 3 weeks, and I can tell that it's a completely different world. That was also my one of the very few times that I get to go out offshore. I mostly work on the land sites, so that was the first time when I went really in the middle of the sea without anything around. It's just for miles and miles apart, you will just see water and nothing else. um, and it's quite different. It's first of all, it's a community. It's really, you really get a sense of community because there are people from all backgrounds, all cultures that are there, and you have to eat together. You have to sleep probably in I was sharing my room with another Italian guy who was really really nice and was one of my very close friends. So the community feeling is definitely there. And you have to really look out for each other because you are managing operations that are complex. You're managing operations that can really cause a lot of damage and potential harm. But of course, you need to have the right barriers in place. The process safety needs to be top notch. And I'm not sure if students, they must have seen Deepwater Horizon. That was a movie that came out after the Gulf of Mexico fiasco. So yeah, that really paints somehow the right picture of when things go wrong, they can go really wrong. And that's where you need to look out. If somebody you think is not doing the right thing, not following the safety practices, you intervene, and you intervene in a very friendly, constructive way for their safety and for your own safety. So that is one of the key things that you have to look out for in an offshore environment. I remember when I was offshore, actually, we had to wait on the weather. So we were carrying out logging operations and we were lowering the tool. And we just couldn't do it because the winds were so, the speeds of were so high. They went, I think, up to 60 knots or so. And we just couldn't lower the tools, and we were just sipping coffee, just waiting on the weather. So we had to wait on the weather for about 24 to 26 hours. So you have to be prepared for anything, and you can't really predict it because it happened all of a sudden. I mean, everything was really calm, and we thought we would have a calm night. All of a sudden, wind started picking up, and it went up to speeds where we couldn't work. So you would say, like, it's sometimes it's like miraculous that these things can change so fast in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so yeah, that's the kind of experiences, but it's also experiences that you remember for life. Things that you will not forget. Your first offshore trip, eating a lot of food. You get some really good food. Everything that you want to wish, you get it there. So remembering that, the community that you're a part of, those things are quite. You remember them fondly later on.
Awesome. Like, I really want to be there right now.
Yeah, you should definitely make a trip for sure. You will remember it for the rest of your life.
I have to try this. And now,
Yeah.
going by this experience, I would like to understand from you, what do you think about some of the skills that would help you stand out when it comes to offshore and oil field jobs?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I think for for students, I'll start. What should you do as a student? What should you do as a young professional? From what I am doing, and hopefully that will steer me in the right direction where I want to take my career. But when I started as a student, the first thing I focused on was understanding what the college professors were teaching. And the second biggest thing was networking as a student. I think networking in this community plays such an important role that people just keep undermining it and they don't see the value of it. I will I will tell you the only reason I got my internship is, of course, I cleared all the HR interviews, but I also had a very good connect with SPE ISEM student chapter. That was the student chapter back at the time that we started, and that really helped me show to various industries that that this guy is good in networking, and you get yourself noticed and people undermine the value of it. But I think it's such an important part of any industry, to be honest, not only oil and gas. So please, apart from focusing on your technical skills, focus on soft skills, focus on networking with industry professionals. That will help you land nice internship, which you can later convert to a full-time job. And that is what happened in my case. I mean, of course, there was a standardized, structured process for Shell that you have to go through, of course. Uh, but they do help and they do add a lot of value. And SPE, of course, is a great platform. There are a lot of other platforms where you can do this, and I would highly recommend. So that's where it started for me as a skill which I've carried on inside the company. We also have a huge element of relationship in a big company, because let's say I'm solving a problem which I'm doing for the first time, but the oil industry has been in existence for such a long time. I'm sure someone somewhere around the world has already solved that problem. So I am someone who believes in not reinventing the wheel every time. I mean, I can spend all my energy and all the resources, I can eat the brains out of all my colleagues and make it a research project, but we have a business to run, we have things to deliver. And so their relationship and networking inside also helps quite a bit. And I have had great support, great mentors, great buddies that have helped me technically and professionally to overcome the problems that I was going through at that time. So yeah, that we should not undermine the importance there. The second biggest skill I would say, is the digital skills in today's world. And I'm not saying that you have to be the best coder that Microsoft has or Google has. It's just about data analytics. It's just about understanding the data and understanding what the data is telling you. There is so much data that oil and gas companies acquire. I think oil and gas companies, they spend billions of dollars in data acquisition programs. Um, and it's just to make sense of the data to come to a right decision would add so much value. And that is where I want people to focus their skills on. And of course, all of this comes on top of the basic skills of reservoir engineering, of petrophysics, of geology, of knowing the physics behind the principles behind Darcy equation, Archie's equation. So, of course, these are the basics, but you have to, in today's world and where we are, you have to add skills, not only in today, maybe in 5 years, the world will look different. And then you will have to adapt to newer skills. It's a continuous learning and continuous improvement journey that oil and gas industry is on. And I think industry as a whole has made tremendous progress because I remember in 2011, we used to say that, oh, the peak oil is already, we're going to hit peak oil. We cannot produce anymore. The oil is ending. And I mean, you've been here, you've been in the industry, you've seen what has happened in the last so many years. The production is not going anywhere, it's only going up with advent of new technology, new sources of energy. Is just the human mind and the industry is just so amazing to figure out solutions to problems. So yeah, so we are nowhere close to peak oil for sure, but we might just have to hit it in the backdrop of CO2 emissions, carbon taxing, which is also quite good, I feel, and quite sustainable. We have to go to a sustainable mode of production. That's what I also feel. So yeah, sorry, long answer, but yeah, that's what I feel the skills.
Right, right. And firstly, you have given me quite a few equations to dig into because coming from my background, I really don't understand what these equations are about. But I'm sure the students would have an idea about this. And also, you mentioned a very interesting element here about reinventing the wheel. Somebody somewhere has already solved a particular problem that somebody
Yeah,
who's new in the industry might experience, which brings me to the whole scenario of the great crew change in the industry.
yeah.
The senior professionals are retiring and the millennials are arriving. How are you looking at this situation with the perspective of cultural shift? What kind of change are we looking at?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think, as you said, a lot of people, there has been a massive crew change, and it's still ongoing. What we need to do at this point in time is not let the knowledge and the experience get lost when people transition out or they start uh, to retire and enjoy their life after years of hard work in the industry. We need to somehow retain that knowledge, and we need to have ways to access that knowledge and experience. And that is where I feel SPE and other societies like AAPG, SPWLA, they play quite a key important role to have programs like distinguished lecture program, where a very senior member goes all over the world to educate different sections on the latest technology, on the work that he or she is doing. So I feel with the crew change, the most important element is to preserve this knowledge, and companies, societies, we all need to play an important role. And also as millennials, we have to make sure that we capture that. There are so many ways that we can capture that knowledge nowadays. not only in the form of a long technical paper of 20 pages or a 100-page report that 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 very few people like to read, honestly. And there are so many better ways to make videos nowadays. Like I know the Khan's Academy, and they make these nice videos where they sketch out everything, and that to me leaves an impression that you cannot forget. These new ways of knowledge transfer is such powerful tools. They really leave an impression on you, and you can always rely on that knowledge. So that is the biggest thing from my perspective. The other thing is, of course, we see there is a lot of new people coming in, and I'm so glad to see an increase in the female representation in oil and gas, not only at my level but also at the level of senior leaderships. I have in my company, in every other company, that is happening. So different thought of ideas, different chain of thoughts can really add value to solving a problem. So the crew change has helped us in that sense, that you're getting a lot more new cultures that are coming in. There is a big influx of Indian talent in the oil and gas industry, and not only in India but also all over the world, because a lot of Indian and Chinese students, they go outside to study and then eventually join this amazing industry. So uh, yeah, and I will tell you honestly, the most fun team that I was working with was a team where we had 8 different nationalities in a 10-member team. And it was the most fun, the most efficient, goal-oriented team that I've worked with. So that just shows the power of inclusion, diversity. And by the way, that team had about 40% representation of women. So it's quite a high number if you look at it. And I was just so proud to work in that team. Yeah. So diversity and inclusion is something that I can talk quite a lot about. I was also the focal point back in my previous role, where we have programs where we try to help uh, not judge anybody on the base of their sex, culture, background, where they come from, what language they speak. So that's quite an important program. It's an equal opportunity for everybody in that sense. So yeah, a very close question to my heart, but I'll stop there.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine. Because I would like to understand from you, do you think this subject of diversity and inclusion has received the importance it deserves in this industry as of now, as we speak?
I think in the recent years it has, but I also feel that there is room to do more.
Right.
We haven't yet done enough.
Mhm.
There is still a lot of room to do more. We need. I will tell you a story. When I was doing petroleum engineering, my whole batch had about 90 students, and you would be surprised if I tell you the number. It only had about 4 girls in them out of 90, or maybe even 3. I don't remember. So you can see the as a student, if you're if you come from that, of course you will have more number of males who will join the industry, because and that is where STEM courses encouraging young students to join STEM educational programs really help. uh, I hope that that has gone up, and if not, then we need to work from that level. If you're asking to where you should drive the change from, the change needs to be driven from that grassroots level, that you have equal number of, or even more females in engineering colleges than males. That would really help drive the change further in the industry. And of course, I think every company needs to support women with regards to their maternity programs, or with regards to what they want to do with their families, whether they want to work remotely. And I think the pandemic has really helped in that sense. So that is a great opportunity for women to now balance that fine balance between their professional and personal careers. And I would say that males also have equal responsibility there to balance both the aspects, personal and professional. So a lot of room to improve. A lot still needs to be done. A lot of programs need to be implemented, and we need to encourage women to bring in their perspective, not be shunned down in calls and meetings. Yeah, that they need to be asked to speak up and bring their point of view to the table.
Yes, yes. And what would you tell the young ladies out there who are seeking a career in this industry? What would your message be for them?
My message would be, don't be afraid. You are so respected in the industry. Don't be bogged down seeing that, oh, it's a tough job and I can't do it. So don't have that fear. You can do anything. Is what my message would be. If you want to work on the field, I mean, absolutely, there is nothing that will ever stop you to work on the field. I mean, you're equally strong as any other person in the world. So don't be afraid. Focus on what you want to achieve. Have that willpower that you will fight whatever comes your way, and you will get to where you want to be. That would be my key message. And the second thing is, don't be afraid to even ask for help when you need. So asking for help, there is no shame in that, and I have done that. So many of us have done that. There is no shame at all in asking for help from your mentors or from your coaches. And that is an attribute that you need to instill. Don't shy away from that. um, be fearless. Be fearless. The world is on your feet. Yeah, that's how you need to take on every day. Just go with whatever you want to do. That would be my message.
That's a very, very empowering message, I would say. Coming
Yeah,
from a male personality in the industry, that's a very powerful message. And I'm
yeah,
sure the young women out there would want to hear more from you on this topic. And now, since we are talking about seeking and building a career in the industry, there's a role that personal branding plays in this
yeah,
aspect. What does having a strong personal brand actually mean? What does it
yeah,
mean for people, and what all it can do for you, how it can help you boost your career? And in this
yeah.
respect, what kind of a platform is SPE, and how can SPE help you in bringing about that change?
Very important question. I think personal branding, showing what you can deliver for yourself and for your employer, is such an important skill set in today's world, when everything is done on, I mean, if a company hires you, they do a background check on you. They do a background check on you on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and I don't know all the places that they do a background check. So it's very important that you highlight yourself on platforms like LinkedIn. You be active on platforms like SPE. You build a network that people know you in the industry. From a personal experience, I can tell, I started in Bangalore. I started having a career in India, and I thought, yeah, that would be quite good. It was a really nice role, uh, wonderful opportunity, challenging projects, lovely people to work with. But then I put myself out there in the company. I networked with people, and eventually I was sent to Oman for a period of about 8 to 9 months, where I was working on the field because I really wanted to work on the field. I put myself out there. I networked with the right people. and the opportunity presented itself, and I took that opportunity. So in terms of building your career, you need to make 90%, 90% hard work and 10% luck, I would say. And you have to do that continuous hard work. It's an everyday sort of, so I would say not grind, but still it's an everyday grind, but not really grind. I mean, you just have to uh, do the right things, be nice, help people from what you know, learn from others, and always be willing to share your knowledge with others. That is a great way to network. Yeah, so I moved to Oman for about 8 months, and that was an amazing opportunity, working with a different culture altogether. Very nice people, very giving, very generous, very knowledgeable. The Omanis, they really respect you, no matter where you come from. So I was working in PDO, a great experience. I learned so much at such a young age about how the oil and gas industry works, the nitty gritties of it. And I made friends, that I have still in touch with from all parts of the world. So their networking helps. Um, Eventually, I moved back to India after I finished the assignment, and then I seeked an opportunity to work in the Netherlands, and working for Shell. Netherlands is quite a common place because Shell is headquartered in The Hague in the Netherlands. And yeah, so I was talking to one of my mentors who had moved back from Bangalore to Netherlands, and I asked him if he had an opportunity for me where I could see myself growing, and that was in a new platform that we were developing. And eventually, yeah, he said that, yeah, your skill sets match, and I moved to the Netherlands for about 1.5 years, which was an amazing opportunity in itself. Networking with the senior leaders in the Netherlands from Shell, of course, was quite nice. So I would say it's a balance of right skill sets, networking, putting yourself out there, um, and what also helped me is in Bangalore, I was featured on one of the Shell websites as a young graduate. Uh, who had they showcase sometimes young people with their journeys, and I was selected for that. That also helped quite a bit to put myself out there and really tell them that I can do a great job. I can be a great team player. I can also support, and I can also be help you progress the project in the right direction. So I would say it's a combination of hard work, luck, skills, passion, and your willingness to really want that. So it's a combination.
Very true,
Uh,
Abhinandan. And now, moving on, as you mentioned, you have been to different places, different parts of the world. You have been exposed to a variety of cultures, I would say. How has that shaped your professional and personal growth, and how has that impacted your career?
I think, yeah, travel, seeing new places, getting to know new people. I mean, I think you can tell from your personal experience as well as much as I can. It just shapes you in a different way. You always start seeing the good side of the people in that sense, because every culture, I feel, has something positive to offer to the world, a lot of positive things. And when you learn about those things, when you learn about uh, little things like how do you sing happy birthday in Dutch, or how do you say cheers in Dutch or Italian, so those sort of things, and the stories behind that, they really help you see a new perspective, and you get this sort of warm fuzzy feeling that, hey, yes, you're a human, you're a part of this world, and you're living in a community with 7 billion people, and you can't know every one of them, but it's just to understand the broader cultures. It just puts things in a different light for me. And of course, I would say I've been lucky that I have been working in a lot of different locations all over the world, and that has really shaped me. The one thing I do want to highlight here is a trip or a knowledge trip that I took to Antarctica as part of a Shell contingent. So what we were, and there is a big story behind it. What we were doing is, um, we were trying. Shell, of course, has very strong carbon emission targets, and as part of that, we are involved in a society called International Antarctic Expedition, and we went to Antarctica to understand what is the impact of climate there. That was a trip that we took with about 200 people from all fields of life. There were lecturers, professors, farmers, musicians, people they were university students. There were oil and gas companies. There were climate change NGOs. So it was a group of about 160 people, and we went to this expedition, and that really showed how the world, the extreme parts of the world that are still intact, and you would want to keep it that way. So one of the missions of the trip was that to take young people to that location, and when they see that the world is like that, they would want to preserve it. And when in 10-20 years a lot of people who went there would become, I don't know, politicians or senior managers, and they would shape the world in the next 20 years. So the idea was that to take them to that uh, untouched part of the world, and make a plea to them to keep it that way, as a part of the big ecosystem that the planet Earth has. So that really shaped, in the sense, I think that was one thing that has really shaped me to be more sustainable, have a sustainable way of living. When I got back, we did a lot of presentations inside Shell and outside Shell, uh, just to uh, just to make people aware of sustainable ways of living, and what people can do from their perspective. Just a little bit, little things like segregation of waste. I mean, it's a very little thing, but the impact it has in terms of reusing, recycling the waste is huge. Is huge. Um, so yeah, so I would say these things have shaped me to what I am, and where I am today. It also has helped me grow myself personally. I see things more from a sustainable light, and I am, to be honest, I'm working in oil and gas. People are always complaining, oh, these NGOs, they don't, they're always attacking us. From my personal perspective, I do see that they are also an equal part of the society, and they have full right to voice their concerns. There is nothing wrong, um, and nobody should be stopped from voicing what they have to say. uh, and I think we just, as oil and gas industry, we need to take their concerns, and we need to have a dialogue with them as to what how can we help, how can we act as an instrument in to support the initiatives, or to support the problems that you are facing. So that perspective is very important for us as an oil and gas people, and not like, oh, these guys, they don't know, they don't understand the technicalities. I think that's the wrong approach of how to deal with these situations.
That's a great point, Abhinandan, because nobody so far of all the people I've interviewed have touched upon this point, that is to
Uh,
have a dialogue with them.
yeah,
Try and understand what is it that they are worried about and how can the industry solve that problem.
yeah.
That's a very interesting argument and something that everyone needs to reflect upon. And if you had to say about the younger generation and the road to energy transition, how do you think they can help this move forward?
I think, yeah, very, very important question. Not only for oil and gas industries, but for anybody related to energy sector in that sense. I think we need to understand that the world will transition into into a more sustainable society. There is no denying that. And if you're still denying that, then you're really far away from reality of things. So that's just the bottom line. The sooner everybody accepts that, the faster it will help them transition. Now, transition is is a small word, but it's it's a lot of years to put it in perspective. And the oil and gas industry didn't just exist on one random day in Pennsylvania when the oil well was drilled. It took several trial and errors, and it took a lot of hard work, a lot of innovation that made our industry come to where we are now. And the same is going to happen in the transition industry, if I can call that, in the renewable industry. And I mean, we are lucky. I consider myself to be a part of the great generation that we see the rise of changing technologies. We saw the rise of internet. We saw the rise of cell phones. We saw the rise of um, artificial intelligence. I mean, we're still seeing that, and the same way we will. You and I will see the rise of a sustainable ways of producing energy, and we have to play a key role there, being from the industry. Um, that we need to drive that change. And there are a lot of ways, a lot of research is already getting done in this sector. But just encouraging people to take sustainable courses. Every big university has more courses on sustainable energy, on renewable energy. Uh, how do you make a solar cell more efficient? What sort of material you need to use. So that research, colleges and students will play a massive role in defining new technologies, efficient ways of storing energy. I think that will be an important segment in the next 20 years. As an industry, what we have to do is also put a lot of research uh, effort. Like we all the big companies, we always have a research budget which focuses on oil and gas research, exploration. And I think we need to shift a little bit and focus that amount to renewable research. I know Shell and all the big companies, they're doing quite a lot already. Biofuels is one area. Um, Carbon sequestration and storage is another area. Geothermal, solar farms, wind farms. I mean, Netherlands is probably one of the on the forefront of windmills and wind energy. Whenever you see a windmill, you associate with Amsterdam, and that is because that there are a lot of windmills. We were, as a country, Netherlands was already using wind energy for quite a long time, and now it's just a matter of scaling it up, making it sustainable, making it affordable, um, and just helping to sustain the energy demand growth that comes from countries like India, countries like China and Africa in the future. Uh, and it's not saying that you need to stop oil and gas, of course. The oil and gas will still continue to provide a major part of energy to the world, but just the extra increase that will happen in the next 20 years, we should make that happen through renewable sources like the ones I mentioned. And that's my opinion. And I am a firm believer that that is where the world will go. Carbon taxing, carbon pricing is something that we are very close. We are working on it, and in the near future, I think we all will have to pay a carbon tax. Although, so when that happens, things will be much more clear that we need to really transition. Yeah, small word has a lot of big elements to be worked behind it, and a long way to go yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, Abhinandan, we are looking at a very different situation. These are unprecedented times. The industry has not seen anything like this before. How are you looking at the present times?
Yeah, I think very it's something that nobody expected. It's something that that has hit us in a way that we couldn't believe. Oil price going to negative 37 dollars per barrel is unheard of. Is unseen in generations of oil and gas uh, industry. Um, yeah, but I think now that we have faced it, I think we will be more resilient to this. I, Oil and gas industry is supposed to be one of the most resilient industries. I mean, going through the Great Recession, the recession in 2009, the oil crash in 2014, 2016. I mean, this is what I have seen in my lifetime. And there was oil crash back in the late 90s, which the industry survived. So we are quite prone to having these ups and downs. And I think we just have to be more resilient, build that contingency that things can go south anywhere. And we just need to be have that buffer as a company, have that buffer as individuals to survive that shock that hits us when the commodity prices go negative or go close to zero, like happened. Um, yeah, so uh, the times now we will learn, the world will adapt, but the next calamity is just around the corner, as a famous speech by Bill Gates, where he already said that this the pandemic is really the next biggest worry that the world needs to be aware of. And yeah, so if only somebody could predict the future of the world. And I honestly think Bill Gates can do it. Bill Gates knows what is the future. I'm a big fan. But so I think, yeah, resilience, having that buffer, having strong cash books, strong stay. We need to have strong financials as a company, that we can resist any unprecedented change that can happen. Uh, and of course, if you diversify enough, then you will have that balance of surviving such shock waves. Um, yeah, it's very little I can say about other than to be resilient. And I'm not sure what the next calamity is going to be. uh, I hope not as big as this one, but that's just the optimist in me who says that. uh, and yeah, I hope we all survive this, and I hope there is no loss of personnel. That's the biggest failure of humans. We cannot save people that could be saved because of this. And I think as humans, we should focus on lives of people than anything. So yeah, that's really all I can say about it. It's yeah, tells you where things don't go wrong, and how you come out of it really defines your character as a human, as a company, as a colleague, as a family man. That really defines how you face in the advent of calamity. Yeah.
That's very true because it's a lot to take in at this point of time. We are
Yeah.
actually not aware how things will unfold. We can only keep on trying and keep on moving forward. And now, with this context, with this background, what would be your message for the class of 2020? Because these people, these students are confused, anxious, nervous, and probably dejected and demotivated as well because they do not understand whether this is the right time to launch their career in
Yeah.
the industry. What would your message be for them? How can they make the most of this time at hand?
Yeah. My message to the class of 2020 is be fearless. That's one thing. Don't be anxious, be fearless, but don't be too far away from reality. The reality of the things is that the industry is struggling and things might improve. Uh, but the message is that you need to adapt. You need to learn skills that will be relevant uh, in the future, not only in this industry, but skills that you can horizontally cater with to other industries as well. So, for example, if you acquire digital skills, then you can really work in a banking sector. You can really work in an automobile sector, and those are the type of skills that you need to focus on if you really want to outsmart, if I can use that word, outsmart the changing world. Already be a step ahead, but be fearless. If you think that you want to start something of your own in the oil and gas sector, there is never a better time to do it. You need to do it right now, today. And if you have a great idea, talk to your mentors, talk to industry professionals. Don't get dejected when you hear no. No, I feel, is a word that people say who who don't see the value in others. I try not to use that word, but don't be too far away from reality as well. So it's a fine balance, if I can say. Uh, Dream, look up in the sky, but have your feet grounded on the planet Earth. um, and that is what will help you succeed and ride all the waves, not only this one, in the future. Um, and like I said, what you make out of this, what you do now, will really define the kind of human, the kind of man, the kind of woman that you are, and that will shape you for the rest of your life. For example, if you couldn't find a job, for example, if you were looking for a job, if you couldn't find a job, let's focus, do a course in data science, pursue your masters in data science, or you will have to put in effort, of course. Or if you want to do if you want to be a part of the civil system, pursue civil exams in India, or elsewhere. If you want to completely change your career, I mean, you guys must be what, 22, 23. I mean, that's really nothing. I wish I was 22. I mean, I would have done so much. uh, and uh, there, just be fearless, do what you have to do, be fearless, go for your goals. There is nothing that can deter you in achieving what you have to. I mean, 22 is the age where you should think, like I said, for the young students, young females, the world is your ocean, the world is at your doorstep, and there is never a better time to do anything. Um, my personal belief is, have trust, have faith in the country. In If you want to pursue your career in India or outside or abroad, have faith that the world will only go in an upward direction. There will be improvements, and you can be a part of that improvement to bring that value to human race, that value to people around you, in helping them to solve their problems. And once you do that, you will see that you are already doing what you want to do. If you want to uh, turn your business into a multi-million dollar business, then um, solving the right problems for the right kind of people will help you get there already. And it's just, you don't have to even make any effort. uh, but be focused, don't be afraid, is my key message.
A very practical insight and approach coming from your experience, because yes, I understand it's not easy. And as you said, you were not prepared for a lot of things that happened in the industry, particularly
Yeah.
the downturns that you experienced. And now moving forward, I would like to know, how do you look back on your journey? And what are the new milestones that you're looking forward to? And yes, even I wish that I was 19 and 20.
Yeah.
We have come
We
a
all,
long way now. It's
yeah.
like, yes, it feels great to be young again,
Yeah.
to feel young again. What are some of those new milestones you would like to work for?
Yeah. Um, you mentioned a very good word about downturn. I remember after the Netherlands, I went to Iraq to work in the south of Iraq for Shell, and that was an experience I will never forget. It was just an amazing experience. And after a while, we decided as a company to not continue that project, and that was also a downturn for me personally, because then I had just moved there. It had only been about 6 months, and the assignment was supposed to be for 4 to 5 years. Uh, so that was quite I could say a downturn in my career. But what helped me then is I didn't lose hope. I didn't think, oh, the world is ending. I had a positive mindset, a positive approach. Uh, I went to my base country, and I found new opportunities. I put in more effort in the work I was doing. I developed new skills, and that helped me to come out of that downturn. So, from a personal experience, I can share having a positive outlook, having a positive mindset really helps you to come out of these situations. Uh, have faith in yourself, in your ability, in your mind, that you will solve this, you will find a solution. In terms of my future goals, I would say I'm quite thankful to my current manager. He gave me an opportunity to lead a big project. So I'm currently working as an opportunity lead as well. I'm bringing people together. I'm looking at the stakeholder management. I'm looking at non-technical risks, looking at the technical aspect of it. So that is quite a good opportunity for me to sharpen my leadership skills or my engagement skills with people. And for in the near term, I would continue to work on those skills that help me understand people, understand interfaces, drive efficiency from different set of people. So that would be my near term goal, is to grow in that direction, to lead multi-billion dollar projects for a big company that really drive change for the society, for the community, and at the same time also stakeholder management, making sure that you take the local municipalities, the local governments, the people around, and the NGOs in the area with you in that journey of project delivery. Yeah, so I'm quite excited that I hope I can continue on this path to be yeah, to deliver multi mega projects and drive that efficiency in the company, such that I bring some real change in the lives of people. That would be my goal, how I would describe my next 4 to 5 years.
Absolutely. And there's definitely nothing stopping you. All my best wishes with you on that.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing talking to you today, learning about your journey in the industry, your story, your experiences, and also you've given us some very insightful perspective on how the industry looks like from the inside. What does a career look like in the industry?
Yeah.
And what opportunities it brings on the table. It was absolutely wonderful connecting with you today and learning about all that you have done so far and all that you intend to do in the times to come.
No, thank you. I think it was great to speak to you and share all that I could from my experience and hopefully and learn from you. Like I said, I very closely follow the great work that you're doing. I'm very impressed. Just the right type of conversations. They help me learn from experiences of other people. So thank you. Big thanks to you as well, and to the whole team at the Energy Dais. Quite thankful for this opportunity.
That's a huge compliment, and I will definitely convey this to my team as well. Thank you so much
Yeah,
once again, Abhinandan, and I will get in touch with you soon again.
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.